It's great to see everyone here at the first ISM Midlands regional event of the year. It's great to see you all. Hopefully you've had reasonably good journeys. I know the traffic's been a little bit heavy today. We are waiting for a few more people who will join us as we move forward. My name's Dave Millichap. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the ISM Corporate Account Director at the ISM, and I'll be working with you today through our planned agenda. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be going through today. But I'm just going to do a very quick ISM update, just a few key pointers and a few bits of information that you might be interested in hearing about from the ISM. Then we're going to go into our first session, which is all about CRM. So today is all about CRM, the whole day. It's about good practice. It's about optimization through sales leaders, and hopefully you're going to get some really great tips and kind of pieces of information to take back to your respective organizations. So after the first session, we're then going to have a quick break for 15 minutes. Then we're going to come back and we're going to then look more about optimizing CRM and looking at sales leadership and sales management in terms of getting the best out of your CRM systems within your organizations. 12 o'clock, we're going to be just breaking, end of the formal sessions for about an hour, so a good networking lunch. Again, feel free to have a look around the Gebrit showroom and have a bit of a networking opportunity with everyone in the room. And everyone should finish by about 1 o'clock, so hopefully that's all good with you guys. I'm going to come over here. One key person in the room that I need to introduce you to, who actually isn't in the room, she's out the front, you've probably met her already, is Rachel Burke. So Rachel is our membership manager at the ISM. I think the majority of people in the room today are members of the ISM. These events have traditionally been open events, but we are going to be kind of closing them down over the next few months, so they will become member-only events. So if you're not an ISM member and you really want to learn about some of the benefits of becoming associated with us and being an official member of the ISM, Rachel's your lady to speak to throughout the day. So do seek out Rachel and she can talk to you about the benefits of joining. Those members in the room may have kindly completed our stress in sales survey. So this is something that's big on our agenda at the ISM, the notion of identifying mental health within the sales space, how to deal with it. And we are putting together a white paper off the back of the survey that was completed last year. This has been written by Dr. Zoe Douglas-Judson, who's the CEO of Mindologist. And we will be publishing this paper on February the 28th. So do keep your eye out. It is based on research and a survey that we did within the ISM member network. It's going to be great in terms of putting together the thoughts and kind of trends within the sales industry. What we're planning to do with the help of colleagues such as Astrid Ennis, who is a trained therapist, we're going to be putting on a suite of provision around mental health in sales. These are going to probably be in the form of webinars and workshops and kind of regional meetings. So do look out, that's going to be coming out at the end of February and a real pertinent topic in the sales space at the moment. So look out for the stress and sales piece. I think our marketing manager went a little bit Game of Thrones on this image, but BESMA is coming. BESMA is coming. For those of you who don't know, BESMA is the British Excellence in Sales Management Awards. It's the largest, most high-profile, longest-running award ceremony for the sales industry. The ceremony itself is a new venue. So last year we were down at the Grosvenor Hotel on Park Lane. We had about 750 salespeople in the room, maybe a few bottles of wine flying around. So it's always an interesting and lively event and a great way to recognise your sales team. So nominations should be going live around April time, so do look out for the categories and feel free to nominate your sales colleagues to hopefully win an award on the night of the BESMAs. If you don't know what BESMA is, feel free to talk to myself throughout the day. It'd be good to get you involved. Okay, I'd just like to move on and introduce our two speakers today. So Vicky Nesbitt, is Vicky?
Hi.
Vicky is Senior Regional Vice President for Salesforce, and Vicky's going to be leading the first session around good practice within Sales CRM and giving you lots of good advice and hints and tips to get the most out of your CRM systems. After the break, we have Kerry Nutley, who's seated over there. Hi, Kerry. Kerry is VP for Front Office Transformation and has a 20-year history in terms of sales, managing global sales teams within Deloitte, and certainly Deloitte and BT over the last 20 years, so a wealth of experience. And Kerry's going to talk to us more about sales leadership and optimization around CRM systems. So we're going to have some great content today. Hopefully it's going to be a nice relaxed day. Feel free to kind of fire questions at the guys throughout their sessions. We are filming this session as well, so we intend that the filming of the regional groups moving forward will all sit behind the ISM members area on the website. So if you want to access some of the content away from these sessions, then sign up to be an ISM member if you're not already. So it's going to be great. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Vicky, who's going to be taking us through the first session. Vicky, over to you.
Thank you very much. So, as Dave says, I'm Vicky Nisbet. I'm a Senior RVP at Salesforce. I'll whip straight onto the agenda. Oh, I have to do this. We have to do this wherever we are within Salesforce. If you talk to anybody, you have to say anything I say cannot be held against me. And, don't quote me, all that sort of stuff. To take you through the agenda that I've got planned today, I'm going to look for the first half a little bit as to who Salesforce are, what we do, why we are different, why we've become how we are today, and look at some of the customer things that we've got going on. I think utilising the experiences of our customers is always key in things like this. It's great when you're in sales and you're selling sales as well. It's a nice place to be. And then I'll go through some of the ways that Salesforce uses Salesforce and how we manage and structure our go-to-market and our operating model to get the most out of it. But before that, I thought I ought to... It's funny when you're thinking about standing in front of a room full of salespeople. I think probably first off I need to get some credentials up there. So a little bit about me. I actually started out with a law degree, which is a bit of an odd start for sales, and it's very reflective of my personality, because shallow as a puddle, I thought I could quite do with a car for the summer. I'll get a job in sales. And that led on to a 25-year career, which I haven't looked back, and I do enjoy, but it wasn't really built on a huge moment of decision making. So I spent about 10 years at Ceridian. It was known as Centerfile, if any of you remember Centerfile Payroll Bureau from way back when, owned by NatWest. And I went from sort of trainee to manager there, then moved into the big league and did an Oracle SAP Oracle combo until I have ended up at Salesforce last May. And I think underpinning all of this, although technology has been a theme all the way through, I don't have a technical background. I can't talk to you about widgets, but what I have got is 25 years talking to businesses who need to transform, and they need to utilise technology to transform. So the payroll, HR, I did a bit more HR with Oracle, did sort of ERP, selling to retail, running the retail team, and then ERP for professional services and construction engineering, and Salesforce now. I run the strategic industries team. And so I found along the way very, very interesting in the changes in the job, but the way that people manage the sales, you can imagine across those different businesses are very, very different. And so hopefully bring some of that to bear today. So to kick off, providing this works, the technology, I thought we'd look at hearing from one of our customers as to who Salesforce are and the impact they have.
The most important store we have in the world is .com, period. And I think a lot of companies struggle in the transformation from brick and mortar to a much more hybrid model.
It's not a question of if or when, it's happening now. We need to lead and be able to respond to those consumer expectations immediately.
The age of subpar performance in digital is gone, because the people who are now engaging in those experiences, they know the speed of a site. They know what good looks like.
So if you're not meeting their expectation at that first point, you've lost them straight away.
So we need a partner that knows what to do, that's creative, that will engage with us and really understand our business. And that's where the entire technology platform from Salesforce gives us a competitive advantage.
This generation, they expect something now. They want instant gratification. They want to explore, they want to discover.
They get inspired by what a Kenny does, what a Paul Pogba does, which has no borders. Our primary interface is now through digital media. There's no TV advertising.
The fact that there is so much noise out there and there is so much data and there's so many stories, putting them at the heart of our brand and what we create allows us to be much more relevant.
We want to create the best sports company in the world. We want to be the creator brand.
That access to global profiles, global brands at any time in any way is what consumers are looking for. So we need to bring that vibrant brand experience to life through every digital touch point.
And that's where Salesforce helped us to enable that proactive interaction with the consumer.
We moved from a world where you would spend 6 months, 9 months and building a big capability and you'd launch it and you'd celebrate. And you now get into a cadence where we actually have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, constantly throughout the year.
We almost grew 20% in the first 6 months of this year. We grew our .com 60%. We grew in America 80%.
We're capturing people online, we're driving traffic. The brand heat is on fire, and that marriage of Adidas and Salesforce allows us to be reactive, proactive, and design and evolve for the future.
The capability to roll out products and influence trends is immense, and the connection basically makes that happen overnight. So right now, we can actually get the true power of being a global company by using Salesforce technology. It's, super exciting.
Right, okay. So I think from the point of view as to a sales and a CRM customer, I think Adidas isn't necessarily one that you think of straight away. But it really does, I think, bring home the changes that we've had and what we have to deal as salespeople in the sales organisations. And largely, I think this is recognised to be a lot to do with how we have to keep up with the fourth industrial revolution. And when you've got things like AI, IoT, robotics, when you're trying to interact, whether it be with consumers or with other businesses, we have to be aware of the pressures that are put on us to deliver. It's a long way from when we had steam, electricity through to computing. The key that connects us, and I think that the message with the Adidas story is the way we need to be connected. We need to make our customers able to access us and to communicate with them constantly. It's not enough that we just pop in and see them once a month. We have to almost have a constant connection. And so the implication that we have as sales team, I don't know about you, but when I started out, when I got my first job at Centerfile, I still remember, it's probably one of the best days. I picked up my brand new Ford Mondeo, and it was August the 1st, so I had an N-Reg, giving away my age there a bit, but very, very excited. And it came with its car phone, my first mobile phone, the car phone, the one that you pull off like that. And I thought it was brilliant, and I tried to phone everybody I knew on the way home. I think I spoke to about one person because nobody was home. It was the middle of the day, and nobody had mobiles. But it was I really thought I'd made it. I thought, this is it, I was in touch with my customers, and I'd set on my career. The bad downside, of course, was that if you weren't in your car, nobody could get to you. And much as I sort of dream of those days now, what's very, very clear is we need to be constantly connected. We need to be able to be responsive, be proactive, and be in touch with our customers every step of the way. And this, I think, I've tried to think of a customer example that we've got. Centrica Hive, I don't know whether any of you have got Centrica Hive in your homes, but it's all about connected homes, and they actually are utilising our technology right across the part to talk to their partners, to talk to their customers, to plan their cross-sell, their upsell, and to be proactive. So if you are a Hive customer and your electricity or your light bulbs are running a bit dim, or they've got an offer on at the moment that these expensive connected light bulbs are 2 for 1, they will actually proactively contact you. They utilise what is traditionally seen as CRM to reach out to customers and push products and services to them. And I think more and more we have to take that into account. And that's really, I think, where Salesforce has been able to distinguish itself as being something different. And I think one of the weird things coming to work with Salesforce is you think CRM. I don't know, I know we've got some Virgin Media people. Anybody else come across Salesforce in their lives so far? Yeah? Oh, we've got lots. Excellent. Ooh, better not make it up. So, you think Salesforce, you think CRM, and one of the things that we go through when you join Salesforce is to say, no, it's not CRM, right? We're long beyond CRM. What we are is a 360 connection of the customer. And the aim and the reality that's enabled through us being a native cloud platform is that we can touch the customer at every single point on the customer journey, whether that be pre-sales or service. So if you, if you think about buying a TV, I know it's a consumer kind of interaction, but it's relevant for any kind of sales process, I think. If you're anything like me, you probably start by looking on your phone, you're watching TV and think, oh, I need a new TV, onto Amazon, see what options you've got. Then that's not big enough, so you then transfer to an iPad or a laptop to get more detail. And you keep on looking, you keep on trying to make your selection and decide you want to go and speak to somebody. You need some expert advice. So you need to go into the store and talk to them. And all through that process, you want the interaction to be familiar, to be supportive, to capture your information and to carry it through with your journey, almost to the point that when you walk into the store, the person knows you've been looking and they're able to come to you with, oh, I understand you're interested in a 50-inch flat screen, you know, let me tell you what's on offer today. You then buy your TV, you take it home, you get it hung on the wall or whatever we do these days, but it doesn't work. So you need some after-sales support and you phone their service desk. And that person knows who you are and knows which store you went to, knows what you've bought, and can therefore instantly help you and help you resolve. You come off the phone and you start tweeting what fabulous service you got from Currys or whoever, because they've satisfied your needs every step of the way. And it's that kind of customer journey we're trying to emulate throughout Salesforce. So you would have in there taken us through commerce, where you can go from iPhone to laptop, through sales, through servicing, probably marketing was in there in some ways. And so all of these touch points enable our customers to deliver service to their customers. So it's all about keeping your sales teams as active as possible and in touch and proactive. I think these days our service is everything, and salespeople can't rely on just being charismatic. They need to be able to deliver and to really deliver and add value. So to share a customer story, this is where Unilever have taken it really beyond the initial levels, because they've gone through for their 360 interaction with customers, and that's whether it's Tesco's and Sainsbury's or whether it's you or I buying Unilever products. But taking it even further, they've taken it through to their employees. And utilising the platform that all of this is built on, they've been able to have an employee interaction layer, which means their employees are almost treated like their consumers as well. So if you have any questions that you need answered, whether it be about your pay, whether it be about your laptop, through Unilever you utilise our platform and get instant answers, instant reactions to be able to solve the problem there and then. And they've built a bunch of apps for things, all sorts of different things, which I thought was a very different vision of a CRM, or what you would classically see a Salesforce solution as being. But as a company, I think we've probably taken it one step further. What we've done is we've created this Ohana, which is a little bit of what these Astro and Pacey are about, where Mark Benioff, the founder, sees us being in a family with our customers and our partners. And it gets a little tree hugging in its sounding, but what it means is that people identify with Salesforce, and we've sort of embraced our customers so that they come to us when they need things, rather than us having to cold call them all the time trying to sell them stuff, which really changes that sales process completely. And it's enabled this enormous growth, and they do like to share that we're #1 best company to work for. And it's underpinned by this 1x1x1 model that Mark Benioff thought up. So from a Salesforce perspective, 1% of our time, our profits and our products are all donated to charity all the time. So for me as an employee, what that means is I get 7 days paid volunteering a year. Last year I went to South Africa, helped build a school in one of the townships down there, and got paid whilst doing that, and was supported and allowed to go along. The profit is donated, so you can apply for Salesforce grants. And the product, we have an organisation called salesforce.org, which is there to provide, if you run a charity, you can speak to salesforce.org about getting access to our CRM solutions and our Salesforce platform to enable you to run your charity on our platform, which is very, very different. And the reason I think this is important is it's become inherent throughout our sales team. We drive behaviour and attitude that's very, very different, because people sign up to this. They really do buy into the whole ethos of what Salesforce is and what it means. And this goes beyond, really, because these Trailblazer hoodies are like gold dust. Not just anyone gets one. You have to have done so many hours of Salesforce training to get one. I actually have one because I got most valued player at boot camp, which I would never lose an opportunity to share with people, because I'm so proud of my hoodie that I wear it all the time. I did think about wearing it today, but thought it wouldn't look very professional. But it does mean that people are evangelical about Salesforce. You go to our customer conference in San Francisco and they are whooping and high-fiving woodland creatures all over the place. And so it's got a very different feel. 170,000 people landing in San Francisco for 1 week because they all want to be part of the Salesforce Ohana, which means that I guess we can manage our customers, take our growth, our business in a different way than I've certainly experienced before. So I think I didn't want to do too much of a sales pitch on Salesforce, but I think it's important to see who we are and where we've come from to enable me to share how we achieve what we achieve in the way that we do. So from a Salesforce, how Salesforce use Salesforce. And you know, you think of all those things. Do we drink our own champagne, or are we cobbler's children with poor shoes? And we do genuinely utilise our technology to the nth degree. And I was trying to get to do a mobile demo, so maybe if in the break time you want to have a look, I can show you the app on my phone and some of the data that I've got pushed at me to enable me to run the teams that I have reporting into me. But the reason for all of this, I think, is that we do remain a very, very customer-centric organisation. We listen to customers, we spend lots of time with customers. Those of you who might know some of the companies I've worked for before, when I joined, it was a huge revelation to work for a business that the customers love us. I've never had it before. I've barely got through the door working with some of the previous companies, but with Salesforce, they want to spend time with you. They want to expand their portfolio. They want to learn how to use things better and take things further. So they approach you to come and meet with them. They approach you to buy more stuff, and I've never experienced it. But it's all because of this customer success mindset that we have, that it's not just a sell it and run organisation. It's a journey that you go on and you stay engaged all the way. And I think the technology, the cloud platform, forces that in a way, because it's a service, isn't it? It's not sort of a product, or you've got to enable people to want to sign up for their next contract. And we do use our customers as marketeers. The big question, or the big difference with Salesforce, is it's not have you got a reference, it's how many do you want and what sort, because people are more than happy to share their experiences of Salesforce and almost do the selling for you. Which does make a difference for our Salesforce, but you can't, there's no substitute for really good process, really good operating model underneath. And these 4 pillars, I think, are where it's all at for us with regards to our sales execution. So I'll sort of walk you through round on this, and it's very, very pertinent because we have a weird end of year. We have end of January is our end of year. So at the moment we're in the throes of the kick-off and the launch. You see a few heads nodding. It's a fast-paced time. We're going through the reorg, the pack's being shuffled. There are people popping and changing and moving all over the place. But underpinned with all of that is the alignment and focus that really does drive the growth within Salesforce. And by that, we have a philosophy from Mark of a V2 MOM, which is a visionary appraisal, which is cascaded down from him all the way through the organisation. And that will be confirmed through everybody by the end of February. So everybody has a very clear idea exactly where they're going, why they're moving in that direction. Targets are communicated, territories are already out and confirmed, which I don't know about you, but that's never happened to me before. It's been sort of maybe 2-3 months into the year before we actually say, yep, you can go and sell to those people. But that's all done, which means the focus is on the selling and providing the service to the organisations, to our customers. And that goes throughout all of the business, not just the sales team. Although we're a sales-focused organisation, we ensure that everybody throughout that Ohana is very clear on our direction and where we're going. And of course, it's always one of growth. So that then comes through to the adoption values to drive behaviour. And this Ohana ethos really does mean that people behave in a certain way because they want to deliver for the business. They want to provide, they're customer focused. It's almost too customer focused, which is a strange thing to say, because customer is definitely king. And so people are pulling through all different areas of the business to ensure we can deliver to our customers what it is they need. So the support the sales teams get is quite huge with regards to that. But the behaviour from the sales guys is they'll do it because they want to do it, not because you're forcing them to do it. So more carrot than stick, I would guess. You've got sales methodologies. I'll go into that in a bit more detail in a moment, but we drive our process through our technology because it's real time. It does enable us to enforce a certain rigour through the entire process that people can follow very, very easily. It's easy to use. It's you know, almost idiot-proof. I could switch it on and I knew where I was going with it, which takes that terror of admin away from salespeople. They're never great at wanting to do admin, so you have to make it as easy and as attractive as possible, and almost gamification is going through there to make sure that it's as easy for people to do. Otherwise, you know, the piles up on the desk and you never get through to it. So the productivity is increased. And then you've got the operational excellence, which drives accuracy. And like I say, I think it was day 3 after I joined where I was asked to provide a forecast for my new team, which would normally drive horror through me. But I logged onto the app. The forecast was there for the rest of the year. I knew how to cut it into quarters very easily. And every place I've been before, that has only been achieved through a series of spreadsheets which have delivered with varying accuracy depending who sent them. You know, you always get the one guy who's really good at spreadsheets, and then you get somebody like me who's maybe not so good, but then you're trying to mishmash this together to give you a picture of where your business is coming from. But because we've got this operational excellence running through the app, it really does give you the control to be able to forecast more accurately, which is what we're all interested in. So some of this is through our alignment and visibility, and we've called it the horseman model. And this being, I think, because we have an enormous amount of resource available to us in Salesforce throughout the sales team. So to take you through this clearly, you've got the marketing, sales and alliances driving through, and then these pillars down vertically would be the account exec, cloud sales, telesales, ECS, and BDR and lead generation. And all of these people are focused on driving the business forward and generating revenue, generating opportunities that we can manage through the app. So clearly, we have a partner in the room. Our alliances and channels are very, very important. We've got partners that are driving revenue for us through their engagements with their customers. You've got the SIs, that Accenture, Deloitte, those kind of people who are trying desperately to conquer their customers using Salesforce because you can deliver benefit so quickly. But beyond that, because of the nature of the technology, we have partners who are enabled to build their own apps that they can then sell in parallel with Salesforce to Salesforce customers to enhance specialist areas, almost on the way that if we're providing best practice for a sales process and you're selling something specific like construction, then one of our ISVs would develop a construction flavour part to sit alongside it, and the nature of the technology means that it's a seamless solution to our customers, which Gary will go on to at the break time if you want to know more about that. Our marketing machine is very, very good. It's very strong. You've got the very easily identifiable Salesforce brand, which, you know, we have the events. We have a world tour in London in May and Dreamforce in November. They drive an awful lot of interaction with our customers, a big fuss around that. And then our sales programs will run through this depending on where your pillars are. So from a sales support point of view, your account executive owns the customer. We are split as a business into commercial business and enterprise business. So we recognise the different types of companies that we'll be dealing with in those levels. And I think it's quite unusual that with Salesforce, our smallest customer would be 10 or 1 even, and our largest would be, I don't know, a BT, people like that, Centrica, really huge and the AE is responsible for anything to do with them. They are then supported through the cloud sales, who are revenue generating and target focused, and they will be specialists that overlay the account execs. So they are the ones that would specialise in marketing or in service or field service, those different areas, so they will support the AE. You've then got, almost in the back office, ECS guys. They are responsible for selling anything up to $100K to our customers, so that's serviced away from the account execs, so the account execs can focus on the full engagement. And then your BDRs, SDRs, they are people that are, the SDR takes incoming leads, the BDR does outgoing leads. I said, what, you get incoming leads? I have never heard of such a thing, but yeah, we do. We get people phoning us that will ask for somebody to come out to sell them stuff, which is a great thing. And all of that really focuses on the pipeline generation, which has enabled us to grow the business as fast as we have. So to show you a little bit around what these kind of things look like, in lieu of my fancy mobile demo, I thought I'd just share some of the pipeline breakdown dashboards that we've got. So you can see that we've got easy identifiable sort of red, amber, green type dashboards that you can click down into the real data. So you can see pipeline generated by Horseman, the stage that they're at, whatever country, parent cloud, it can be anything you want to be, but the point is that the core information's there underneath, and it's very easy to build these dashboards and publish them to enable you to make decisions to find out where your blockers are, basically. You've then got deal bands, so if you can cut and slice your data in any way that you want, you can see at a glance where your deals are coming from, where your which of your AEs are producing pipeline, and therefore those who aren't, which are probably the ones you want to be having a chat with. And I think the next one, white space analysis. So this I think I found always very, very difficult in previous roles, is to be able to look at the opportunities in front of you and work out where you've got gaps, where your next best action is with regards to sales program and how you're going to go and attack. There's a big telco organisation that we've got as a customer, and they've invested recently in our analytics solution to look at white space analysis. And through the pilot that they ran, in the first 2 weeks, I think it was, they generated 100K additional pipeline and closed 60 of it by being able to see exactly where they should go. So you don't have people running around looking in the empty cupboards. You really can be quite focused. So rather than a scattergun approach, it's more of a snipe. Then, of course, you've got to have information as to where things go wrong, really, I suppose. Being able to highlight through the sales process who hasn't got a close pan, who hasn't got an exec engager, where the products aren't fulfilled within the process. Because following a sales process is all well and good, but you always have that salesperson that looks to be doing all the right things in all the right way, but they're still not achieving their targets, and there's no real reason why. You need to go into the granular detail to look at the sales process as to which part of that is breaking down for them. Is it the content? Is it the way that they're approaching it? So you can really help and support them moving forward. And then we've got Einstein now, which we've rolled out ourselves very successfully, and it gives this sort of opportunity score, and this is where we're taking analytics to a whole new level. So it will take into account the behaviour of the AE, the account exec, and the behaviour of the customer. So it's constantly learning as you're going through to be able to help predict where that opportunity is going to land. And then it will take into account the behaviour of that opportunity management as well. So knowing that, a close plan or an exec engagement will help you close that business, it will give you a score. So you can then forecast what you're more likely to deliver and when, giving you a greater accuracy. I think really surety of where the business is coming from is where it's at, isn't it, when you're talking from a sales process point of view. And at this point, I was intending to flick into showing you the mobile, but I think the good thing about Salesforce giving mobile access, although it's, you know, it's nice to have and it looks really good, it really does mean that your salespeople can do their admin when it happens. So when you come out of a meeting, you go onto the app, you log the meeting, you log the outcome, you have a phone call with a customer, it automatically generates an action that will attach to an opportunity. It enables people to really easily and slickly manage that sales process, which ultimately gives you the more surety of closing more business. And it's far beyond that, you know. So as a sales leader, you've got access to forecasts, you've got dashboards on there, you're able to do everything you need on the go. I mean, Kerry will probably touch a bit on it in her session, but BT, a real big evangelist for this, and Baz is the CEO of Global Services. When I met him, whipped his phone out and was showing me, you know, how he's utilising the mobile app to help drive his business. So it really does change the way that we manage things. And on that note, I was going to say thank you. I don't know whether I've rattled that through rather quickly and whether you've got any questions, but hopefully that has given you an insight into who we are and running Salesforce best practice.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Good question, everyone. Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Vicky. Any questions from the room? Any insight? I've got a question about the kind of the future, Vicky, in terms of the kind of notions of voice activation in terms of CRM. Is that?
Yes.
Heard
yes.
kind of, you know, read articles and bits and pieces on the notion of voice activation in terms of.
Yes, and it's fully, I mean, I think Marriott, one of our customers, is now, you can speak to your mobile app to book your room or switch the lights on, you know, the whole thing's interacted and connected. And I think with Alexa and Google and the way that voice is really going, it is the next best thing. I haven't got anyone I know at the moment in the UK utilising it, because I think probably a little bit wary of it still. We've probably all heard of that thing where the Alexa advert comes on the TV and the next minute you've had a load of cat food ordered to your Amazon account. So I think we're more cautious as a nation, but most definitely voice activation is going to be the way it is. And with the app, speaking to Siri, you'd be able to tell the app what you've been up to and who you've been to see, and it will record it for you.
One of the areas that we get a lot of conversations discussing with forecasting is what are we measuring, the salesperson or the customer? We tend to hear that because we work in the more complex political sales, and we tend to find that Salesforce works on probabilities, but there's a bit more discussion going on about, actually, should we, if we're a customer-first organisation, should we not be measuring the activities of customers? So how do you measure what the customer's actually doing, rather than what the salesperson says they're doing? And that's one of the big issues. And so we're an app developer for Salesforce, and a couple of things that we, in B2B, we're very interested in gamification. So we're also looking at time management. We talk about sales productivity, but when I look at the statistics of B2B salespeople, they lose 70% of their time. And what with 5 million B2B salespeople across the US and the States, that's 3.5 million that are spending the year losing.
Yeah.
and then when you analyse it, how do you, if you look at the instincts of the best, which is really what you're trying to drive, if you want to really get to the very best, you want the average to instinctively work like the best do.
Yes.
But then it's the roadmap of the skills so that they do the things that the best do instinctively.
Yes.
When you analyse it, what we notice is that they're not going in there to think what they're going to do for the customer. They go in there thinking what they want the customer to do for them.
Yes.
And I don't see Salesforce driving that type of behaviour. So how are you doing in that area?
Well, it's an interesting one, really, isn't it? Because there's no substitution for conversation. And I think the big difference is Salesforce does everything it can outside of the conversation, so you don't waste time doing that. So my forecasting experience from, say, my last role at Oracle and now is I'm not wasting time trying to collate information and build dashboards or build forecast spreadsheets. I'm focusing on that conversation. My question that my sales team hate the most, or the thing, one of them, many things I'm sure, that I say to them that annoys them is I say, I don't care what you think, what's the customer said. And I think you have to get that into your cadence of the conversation with your sales team. And the fact that the automation enables you the time to have that conversation will inevitably drive up validity of what they're doing and when they're doing. In the absence, I would say Einstein definitely helps because it does learn the buying behaviour of the customer along with the selling behaviour of the salesperson. And marrying those two together will give you an opinion that drives you into the questions that you need to have. But you're always going to need, I think, to challenge. And salespeople don't like it, do they?
I think the thing that I think there's a situation, I think planning skills are in B2B complex sales is number one skills.
Yes.
And I think that where I think Salesforce, there's an opportunity is to sort of say, don't just measure what the salesperson's doing, measure the customer.
Yes.
And if you measure the customer's actions and activity or commitments, then I think you're on the right track.
Yes.
And I think at the moment I see a lot of efficiency measures, not outcome measures.
Yes.
And the outcome is really what the customer's doing across the process.
Yes.
Through the whole political process. And it's a political sale as well, which we tend to focus in on, which brings another complex to the process.
Yeah, and I think we're going through a little bit of an evolution ourselves on that. So as I say, we're in the kick-off process at the moment, and dare I say it, Salesforce popularity, products work, you can implement them quickly. It's not the monolithic ERP experience that we've had over the last long time, 10, 15 years. So there's an element of Salesforce sells itself, okay? Yeah, exactly. I hate to say this in front of too many of my sales team because it obviously is not really great for them, but it does mean that we become a little more product focused than we should. So what we're doing as a business, we're introducing an Ignite methodology for strategic account planning. And one of the requirements of that is that we leave the product at the door, okay? So everybody does the prep and they go in and they read the annual reports. We did one for BT on the 1st of the month, which was very keen because everybody had a bit of a hangover from the end of year the night before. But the idea was to drive behaviours into the sales team to focus entirely on what the customer was doing and what the customer needed without even going near a product or a solution that we'd got. And it was really interesting to see people's reaction because their comfort means that they go straight to product, you know. They hear a problem, I can do Marketing Cloud, you know, oh God, they're going to expand and they need to hire 3,000 engineers. Oh, brilliant, I'll sell them Field Service Lightning. And you're constantly bringing them back to, hang on a minute, now why are they doing it? And why would they do it now? And what will drive them? And when you get to the point of signature, what's going to stop them? And so we are introducing a lot more language and planning around that to ensure we do what you're saying. We entirely focus on the customer outcome. And if you do that, the product selling happens. But it happens naturally through the conversations that you're having with the customer because you're focusing on them, which I think will help filter into this the rest of the sales process if you do the planning up front. But I agree with you completely. Hi.
One of the challenges we've recently implemented a CRM system, and one of the biggest challenges that we had was driving adoption because it was a massive change. I'm really interested in this Ohana ethos that you have. Does that aid adoption, and also did the target operating model, was that something that you shared with your clients so that they could adopt some of your own internal methodologies to help drive the adoption piece?
Yes and yes. So the Ohana definitely does, and one of the things that's fairly unique with Salesforce is Trailhead, which is the Trailblazer hoodies, is that with the solution you get access to Trailhead, which has hours of training on it. So you can get, so if you're quite techie, you can get a bit excited about what you access and how you can utilize Salesforce. And it means that your entire, whether it be your users, your IT, your architects, can get access to stuff straight away to be able to get their hands on it and learn it. So in years gone by, you would have, a project start Jan 1st, and by Jan the following year, you might just see a demo of what it might look like in the next year. With Salesforce, we are encouraging people from day one to be able to go on and use it, because without that, you forget why it's there, you forget all the utilisation. I have a customer that is a utilities business, and they are implementing Field Service Lightning, which manages their field engineers to sort of take the service one step further, that when you phone up with a water leak, they send somebody out, but actually somebody contacts all the houses in the area saying you might have a bit of loss of service because we've had a reported leak. So very proactive way to link in the actual doing with the sales and service. And what they've done, interestingly, is set up a model office in their office. So an actual area of a room which is completely focused on this project. So anyone who's going to use that solution or be involved in that project at all can pop along in their lunch hour, in their coffee break, whatever, get their hands on the system. They've got a demo environment so they can start playing it and using it, really feel part of it from day one. And that's driving a lot of adoption and knowledge through. I think in addition to that, the dashboards and the reporting help drive behaviour, because what it will show very quickly is the holes. And you know, it looks pretty, and you know, it's nice and colourful, but what you want to see is what's not there, almost as much as what you want to seeing what is there. And being able to do that, you can then drive behaviour through seeing what would happen if you did get your users to use it. So I think very much that is a part of our Ohana. As regards to sharing our Ohana, I think we're always very keen to doing it, and I think that's part of our culture, is to share what we do and how we do it. So we will have uses Salesforce days with our customers. They are very, very popular, particularly when somebody's embarking on a transformation, to get ideas as to how we utilise it ourselves. We have hands-on architect days, so that we can almost do like a hackathon type thing where we'll bring IT and architects into the room, into the tower, or go to them to enable them to get hands-on and use it and share with them what we do and how we move it forward. And everybody who joins is encouraged to be able to do an iPhone demo, to be able to share on the hoof, really, this is what we do in this situation, on the basis that you want them to take best practice, you want to utilise the cloud technology and just slot it in day one, switch it on and get going. So yeah, if that answers your question.
Where do we go on with GDPR?
You're asking me to the stretch of my knowledge on GDPR, but we are covered for GDPR. We offer solutions that help you manage GDPR, and without knowing too much of the technical aspects, we are covered. You know, you've got the kind of like the sign in or opt in, opt out. Our data centres protect you from any exposure from GDPR, but if you want to know how we can help you manage it, I'd have to come back to you on that. Don't know whether that answers your question, sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of leveraging off both the questions already asked. I guess what I've heard here is we're trying to move towards more data-driven sales culture on that. What would you say with Salesforce doing Salesforce themselves, what have been the most meaningful WIFMs for your salespeople?
Meaningful?
WIFMs. What's in it for me?
Oh. Well, I think probably that's an interesting question, really. So, because I do think it's data-driven, but I do think that sales as a profession is a combination of art and science. And I think having the science, managing the data, enables you to concentrate on the art. So the two kind of go in hand in hand. From what's in it for me, there are probably several layers from a salesperson's point of view. First and foremost, when you're selling CRM or a CRM platform, you then share your own experience, so you're sincere and you can really build that rapport with your customer because they're utilising it. But I think from a planning aspect, given the amount of resource, I think we counted up with the planning we've got for the strategic team at the moment. Potentially there are 77 people within Salesforce that you can utilise to help support your customer. So you need to be able to share those interactions, because from a customer's point of view, that could be hell, right? If they all pick up the phone on the same day, I am your whatever from Salesforce. So you need to be able to really manage that resource network very strongly, and I think our technology enables our AEs to do that, particularly on the complex accounts that we have that are managing. So I've got the likes of Centrica and BT and Vodafone. The scale and size of those accounts that are being run by my team, they just couldn't do it without decent technology, and that's utilising, we've got a thing called Quip that is for sharing docs, sharing data. All of those aspects have to be brought into account. So I think more than anything, making their job easier is where the technology helps, rather than it being a chore, if that answers your question.
Vicky, do you know if there's any formal plans to retire Classic and move customers towards Lightning? Is there a time frame for that?
I have not seen anything on a published time frame. I think there is definitely an encouragement to do that. I don't know whether Kerry's a bit more aware because she was in the midst of it before with BT. I think, are you using Classic now?
We are, and I heard a rumour that we have to move to Lightning, but I didn't. I wanted to just see how true that was.
I think probably I'd ask why you wouldn't want to move to Lightning without airing dirty laundry or anything. Is there a reason that you...
I think just resource and time frame for us, it wouldn't be the right time to do that now, but clearly we wanted to know if that has to happen, because then we'd need to put a plan in place to do that.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing that I've seen that's been published that says you're going to have to go in that direction. I would say, though, I would put the planning in now anyway, even if it's a year out, because to enable you to really use Salesforce to its best ability, bless you, then you need to be on Lightning. Yeah, all the Einstein stuff is in Lightning. And, you know, we have this conversation with our customers all the time. There are people who've been very early adopters of Salesforce. They're on Classic. Their sales process built in a certain way because that's the way that was available to them at the time. But there are better, slicker ways of doing it now. So don't prevent yourself from going to Lightning because you don't have the time and resource. Talk to us about how we can help you.
I think that's the thing as well. We need to understand the return on investment to move to Lightning. What's it going to give us? You know, how does it improve our business to move to that different user platform? So
the main thing is usually a streamline of sales process and sales automation. So what we've found is a lot of people might have, I don't know, 140 different boxes that need to be filled in or completed or checked to enable them to move through a sales process. And with Lightning and reviewing that sales process as to what's best now, it can be reduced down to 30. So it's easier for the sales guys to go out and do the job and complete and update the system, which means your data gets better, your predictability gets better, but it takes less time. And overall, you'd probably find that your newer sales process is more matching to what you're trying to do as a business. I can't say 100% of the time, but largely that's what we've found as an outcome so far. So speak to us and let's see if there's anything we can do, whether there are accelerators available or whatever, to help you move along the way.
thank you.
Vicky, you said that your account executives come out of a call, they update the information on the phone, they do their admin in the here and now.
Yeah.
So give me an idea of the size of that. Your account executives typically are managing how many opportunities at any given time?
It depends really the level that they're at. So the guys in my team were in the strategic accounts, so they won't be managing that many. They're probably, if I think about, well, we're in Q1, so you can imagine how dry the pipeline looks at the moment. It's all a little bit bare. But there's probably half a dozen opportunities in a quarter they'd be managing, and then you've got the ECS guys that would be managing another 10 to 20 below the 100K, which is the BAU type stuff going through. But then strategic accounts, those guys have one account. So they only focus in one area.
ECS is your telesales
ECS, yeah. Yes, but into the big accounts. So the commercial business unit, they would be managing an awful lot more. They'd have something on the lines of 200 accounts per territory, and they'd be expected to have a much higher turnover of opportunity. And within the commercial business, you've then got medium business and small business, and the smaller the customer goes, the higher the volume they'd have to manage. So you probably at the top end, you're going to have people managing 50 to 100 ops at any one time, really. So being able to manage that quickly and slickly is what it's going to be about.
And they're taking how long when they come out of a call to update everything, so the pipeline, the call report, whatever it is you guys require? How long is that typically taking them? That person with 100 to 200 opportunities?
Yeah, it would depend on the extent and the detail that they go to. So we wouldn't really expect more than 10 to 20 minutes. You go out into the car park, sit in your car and update it as it goes. And because we have inbox and calendar all linked in with our Salesforce platform, it means that you can leave certain stuff to later when you're back at your desk, but you at least capture it while it's fresh and then leave the more arduous. So I would say 10, 15 minutes initially as they leave the opportunity, and then finish off when you're back at your desk.
And that finish off piece, because that's a bit scary, is that?
There would just be, for me, it would be if there were follow-up actions or something like that, that, you know, you put in, I've had the meeting and this is the outcome, and then probably when I'm back at my desk, I'd rather think, right, now I'm going to plan, I need to call back in a week's time, I need to arrange another meeting, I need to bring in my manager, I need to bring in some pre-sales resource, whatever it might be, to enable you to progress that cycle.
Is that all that cloud-based?
Yes.
What do you do about being offline?
There is offline capabilities in some areas of the app, but it really depends which bit you're going for to be able to answer that question. As far as I know, you can update offline and it will update the app once you get back online for general sales activities. I know when we're looking at field service engineers and things like that, they need to be offline as well because there's you don't always have signal wherever you're going. But I think for most of the core stuff you can have offline.
Any more questions, everyone? That's great.
I have got one more if I dare.
Yeah.
When I was at Dreamforce, I learnt about my Trailhead, and that was just 2 years ago, and they were talking about, I think it was my Trailhead, where you can enable the Trailhead platform for your own organisation and put your own content in to develop courses. Do you know if that's progressed? Is it available now, or is it monetised, or how does that work?
It's progressed. It's not on the price list yet, so that's not GA, but it is in beta testing. So we have got some customers using it now and seeing how it is to utilise it. So as far as I know, it's imminent. Let's remember the forward-looking statement I put up at the beginning. But yeah, I think they went into beta testing, I think about March, April last year. So I'm expecting it any day. I think probably because it extends out beyond to use your own training and things like that. That's been built some complexities into how we manage that as a rollout, but we are expecting it any day.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thanks everyone. Thank you very much, Vicky. I appreciate it, Vicky. Thank you. Let's have a quick break. So if we can reconvene, grab a coffee about 10 past would be great. Thank you very much.